Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So one of Xbox's most interesting and unique studios had a lot of information revealed through an interview. This includes the future of the studio, a brand new game in development, and also what the head of the studio actually wants to do in the future, so we're going to go over all of that here in a little bit. Then we're also going to talk about the possibility of a Nintendo Direct sometime in February, because the rumors are really ramping up right now, as yet another Switch game did leak out online over the weekend. So make sure to stay tuned for that one. But to get things started off today, though, we're going to be talking about a timed console PlayStation exclusive being Sifu. Sifu will officially be releasing tomorrow on February 8th for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the PC. Though, if you did opt out and getting the deluxe edition, that does come with early access, and, well, you could be playing it right now. Fans were playing it earlier this weekend, though initially it was having some kind of problem with its download. It did seem like the PlayStation Store initially did have a problem downloading this game, but it has since been fixed. And for those that did order the deluxe edition, they did say that they're going to give a free gift away, so keep an eye out for that free gift. Nonetheless, though, reviews did start to roll out over the weekend for Sifu, and for anybody that was a little hesitant or were waiting to see those reviews first, well, Sifu is actually sounding like a really good beat-em-up style game, as long as you're okay with a challenge. We'll kind of talk a little bit more about that here in just a second, but Sifu does currently have an 81 overall score on Metacritic with 58 critic reviews on the PlayStation 5. 48 of those reviews are positive, 8 are mixed, while only 2 are negative. So the wide majority does seem to like Sifu, though it seems like the main criticism of this game really just comes down to challenge. If you like a challenge, it seems like you're probably going to love Sifu, because the combat apparently is done very well. The story seems like it's pretty solid, but it does come with a great challenge. You're going to have to be meticulous with your combat, and you're going to know how to play defensively as well, because it doesn't sound like the AI enemies are just going to stand around waiting for their turn. So if you don't like challenging games, then Sifu might not be the game for you. But if you're like myself and you do like challenging games, and it does sound like Sifu might be a premier beat-em-up style of experience. This is kind of that Dark Souls controversy where some fans want there to be more difficulty settings, but then there's also another group that likes everything to be on an even playing field, because when you do accomplish your goal, it's truly a rewarding feeling. I guess it really just depends on your mindset when it comes to these style of games, but just know if you do intend on playing Sifu, as of this moment, its default settings is, yes, a challenging experience. Next up, we're going to talk about Platinum Games, as this is another studio that talked a little bit about their future going forward, and it does seem like that they might be making a drastic change going forward. Platinum Games, of course, is a beloved studio that typically in the past has made unique action, single-player driven style of experiences. They've developed memorable games such as Wonderful 101, Bayonetta. They made Nier Automata, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite games that released last generation. They've also developed games like Metal Gear Rising or even Astral Chain on the Nintendo Switch. I would say that all of these games are great in their own way, so when you see Platinum Games develop a new game, there is a kind of excitement that grows from that, as they have grown a loyal fan base over the years. However, it does sound like that things might be changing a little bit for Platinum Games going forward. Platinum Games' new CEO, Atsushi Inaba, did hint towards their future, and let's take a look at what he had to say. When it comes to future games production, we want to focus on creating games that are different from the past. I would like to focus on creating games that can be enjoyed and loved for a longer period of time. Of course, we would like to cherish and create small but brilliantly conceived games such as Soul Cresta, and games in which you can enjoy the process of clearing the game by going through one-off, well-designed stages such as Bayonetta. However, the projects that we are trying to create for the future will be different in terms of their structure. Considering the changes in the market over the next 5 years or so, I think it is absolutely necessary for us to do this. I'm sorry for being so vague, but I think that's all I can tell you right now. And what does that statement there sound like? It sounds like that he is hinting towards more live service games. As he states, that would be quite a change in terms of their game structure, though you can actually kind of see this with their next big upcoming game being Babylon's Fall. That is a game that kind of took people by surprise, because while it has some of the elements that has made Platinum Games so special throughout all these years with its action hack and slash style of gameplay, it is more of a live service game, and that did throw some fans for a surprise. Because of that, I have seen some mixed reactions when it comes to Babylon's Fall. Hopefully it does turn out to be a really good game. but it's not quite what fans were expecting. And from the sounds of it, Platinum Games might be making more games like this going forward than maybe what we even expected. Of course, nothing has officially been confirmed just yet, and they do have a lot of games in development, so we'll kind of see how all this plays out. But let me know what you think about all of this. If you are a fan of Platinum Games, how do you like the idea of them making more live service games going forward? Moving on, let's go and talk about Xbox and one of the most unique and interesting new studios being Tango Gameworks. See, for a lot of people, they kind of forget that Xbox actually has their own Japanese studio. When they acquired Bethesda, they also acquired Tango Gameworks, which is headed up by Shinji Mikami, an absolute legend within the game industry. Shinji Mikami has directed games such as Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 4, Dino Crisis, Vanquish, and even The Evil Within. He is an absolute legend, and when he left Capcom, he created a new studio being Tango Gameworks, which was eventually acquired by Bethesda. Interestingly enough, though, a new interview with VG247 did pop up where they talked about how this studio was formed and what the future holds for Tango Gameworks. And there was a lot of interesting details in this article, which I will leave a link in the description below. But one of the most interesting things about Tango Gameworks is that the reason that Shinji Mikami created this studio in the first place is to foster young talent so they can direct their own games and give them a chance. While he did direct Tango Gameworks' first game, The Evil Within, since then, The Evil Within 2 as well as Ghostwire Tokyo has been the result of his vision, where those games have been directed by younger talent. And this is such a great thing, not just for Tango Gameworks, but really just the future of promising talent when it comes to Japan. This kind of reminds me of what Nintendo does, is where they really foster talent there and try to have that Nintendo DNA and then pass the torch on as somebody retires. We're seeing something similar here with Tango Gameworks, and it really ensures the future of this studio. It also makes it a great place to work for. To learn under a talent such as Shinji Mikami is a great opportunity. This vision of fostering young talent, though, isn't just paying off with Ghostwire Tokyo, however, because it's also been revealed that Tango Gameworks actually has a second game in development, and this one is actually being directed by Johanas. Now, this is actually the same director that worked on The Evil Within 2, which was an excellent game. So to hear he has his own project in development right now, that is one that we're going to have to pay attention to. We already know that he can direct a good game because, again, The Evil Within 2 turned out to be an excellent horror game. Now, that is one of the things I think fans are going to kind of probably hope for. Maybe we can get The Evil Within 3. Apparently, Ghostwire Tokyo was originally planned to be The Evil Within 3 and then just kind of evolved into its own project. So we know there's interest for The Evil Within 3 within Tango Gameworks, so maybe Johanas is working on a third game. We'll kind of see about all that, but it is nice to see that Tango Gameworks has 2 games in development. As for Shinji Mikami himself, he did express interest in wanting to direct at least one more game before he retires. Not that he's retiring anytime soon or anything like that, but he is expressing interest that he wants to direct at least one more game. And I think with the budget that Microsoft could give him, he could truly make his dream game. That has been something that they've pitched to studios in the past. Think of your dream game and we'll help make that happen. So maybe they can help make Shinji Mikami's dream game come true. That truly could turn out to be very special. About that, they did also mention the Xbox acquisition and how it's been working together, and they said that it was really smooth and that they do receive a lot of help and support from Xbox and Microsoft. Again, they do have 2 projects in development, being Ghostwire Tokyo and then also this mysterious project by Johanas. And Microsoft and Xbox apparently is helping these games out quite a bit. And apparently with Ghostwire Tokyo, they did basically once again confirm that this game will eventually be heading over to Xbox. I think by this point, everybody kind of expects that, and now that we do know that the timed exclusive deal ends on March 25th of 2023, I imagine with this game being owned by Xbox, it will likely release right around that time frame on Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. Nonetheless, though, with all of this information, it definitely looks like Tango Gameworks has a very bright future with up-and-coming talent and also a future project with Shinji Mikami as well. Okay, so for our last topic of the day, yet another Nintendo Switch game did leak out online, which kind of leans into some of the rumors going around that a Nintendo Direct will be taking place sometime in February. There's been a lot of rumors circulating about this, which we'll kind of get into here in just a second, but Let's go and talk about this game that did leak out online over the weekend, and this would be for the Batman Arkham Collection. This is coming from a French retailer by the name of WTT, which has listed the Batman Arkham Collection for the Nintendo Switch, and apparently, according to them, will be releasing on August 31st. Now, that could just be a placeholder or something like that, so I wouldn't really look at the release date as any type of confirmation or anything like that, but what makes this so interesting is that WTT actually did leak out something like this in the past, which was actually The Witcher 3 for the Switch. That did leak out on WTT before the official announcement, and that is why people are looking at this as maybe it could possibly be legitimate. Of course, there's no guarantee, however, so you should probably still take this with a grain of salt, but this would be a really cool collection to have for the Nintendo Switch if it turns out to be true. And that's the thing, because, I mean, right now we don't know if it's true, but the timing of all of this is what is creating a little bit of a buzz. Here recently, there has been rumors kind of ramping up that a Nintendo Direct will take place sometime in February. Now, I'm usually a little cautious when it comes to these Nintendo Direct rumors because a lot of the times they don't turn out to be true, but at the same time, I do feel like that a Nintendo Direct happening sometime soon would make sense. And the reason I say that is because after Kirby and the Forgotten Land releases, there's a little bit of a mystery about what's going to happen for the rest of the year for the Nintendo Switch. Supposedly, games like Splatoon 3 and Advance Wars will be releasing sometime in 2022, but we don't have release dates for those games. Then beyond that, there's games like Bayonetta 3, there's also Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and there's also several rumors circulating of some of these games that Nintendo has yet to announce. A Metroid Prime Remaster has been heavily rumored. We've been hearing a lot about a new Donkey Kong game in development by the Mario Odyssey studio. But even if those games aren't true, I mean, we know that Nintendo has some other games in development, even Xenoblade 3. We've heard a lot about that game, so a Nintendo Direct very much is needed sometime soon with Kirby and the Forgotten Land almost upon us. It is noteworthy that here recently, a Nintendo insider by the name of Samus Hunter did state that a Nintendo Direct could possibly be taking place before February 17th. For the time being, we can just kind of mark this one up as a rumor, but with that Batman leak as well, maybe something could possibly be happening. And like I just said a moment ago, I really do think that we do need a Nintendo Direct sometime here soon. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, and with a lot of talk about difficulty over the weekend and how Sifu just released, I wanted to know, when given the option, what difficulty setting do you usually play on to start a new game? And as you can see here, most of you all being 72% do play on normal difficulty, while 16% of you play on hard, 7% of you play on easy, then 3% of you play on harder than hard, and then last but not least would be 2% on easier than easy. So yeah, as expected, most of you all do play on that default setting right out of the gate, being normal. Going through the comments though, you all did make some great points, as you might choose normal as your baseline to kind of figure out how difficult this game actually is, and then after you've played it for a while, then you can kind of maybe change the difficulty to fit your liking. And that is one of the things about difficulty settings that I have noticed over the years. I do like to play my games on harder, but certain games, it doesn't really seem like it's all that well balanced in terms of difficulty. I'm just going to kind of use first-person shooters as examples, such as Call of Duty. I remember playing Call of Duty 4 on its hardest setting, and the way they balance the setting for that game, it doesn't really seem like the AI is any better. It just feels like they all have auto-aim, and they can all throw grenades like they're Tom Brady. It's just perfect accuracy every time, and explosions all over the place. It was ridiculous and was not fun at all. I did eventually beat it, but I don't look back at that as a fun experience. It was a frustrating experience, more or less. So I do think the difficulty is kind of dependent on the game. Luckily, it does seem like most games has that setting to where you can actually choose hard, and if it's too hard, you can then scale it back in the middle of the game without restarting it to go to normal or whatever. And that's typically what I tend to do. But yes, I do agree with the comments that said that it is dependent on the game it is. Luckily, it does seem like some of the games that does not have difficulty settings, such as Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and those style of games, I do think that they are well balanced. Now, they do have some gimmicky deaths in those that can be viewed as a little cheap, but for the most part, I would view From Software games as pretty balanced overall. And I think for me, that's the most important thing. I want a challenge, but it also has to be fair. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.